because obviously the Clippers, you know, have championship aspirations with Kawhi. The only issue that, has been with Kawhi even before he got to the Clippers, but like obviously since he's been there, is the injury issues. Because I don't know how many games specifically he has played, every single year that he's been on the Clippers, but we know he's missed a chunk of time every single season, or at least most of them. Maybe one of the seasons he played a lot of the year. Maybe it was the first year he was there. I'm not sure. But we know Kawhi has missed a bunch of time every single season or most seasons due to something in his knee or ankle or something, right? And the thing is, and injuries are not his fault or anybody's fault, right? Like, injuries happen, unfortunately. So, like, it's not his fault, that he's getting injured. We can clearly tell that he stayed in shape and stuff like that. So it's not, it's not that, it's just unfortunate. But the reality is, the Clippers go as Kawhi goes, so to speak, right? Like, if Kawhi is not healthy, they have plenty of other talents on the team. Fair enough. I talk about their roster all the time. Like, I always say, other teams need to talk to their front office because they have had a lack of picks, and I wouldn't necessarily say tradable players because they always have talent on the roster, but like when they got Paul George, we know they gave up a ton of picks in that trade, to get Paul George. And they gave Shea to OKC. And we know what Shea is now, right? So, we know that the Clippers have been operating on opposite to OKC. Like, OKC has a plethora of picks and young players and stuff like that to, give away, so to speak. Like, they have so many picks, they don't even know what to do with it, right? So, oppositely, we know the Clippers have been operating under very little wiggle room in terms of tradable picks. And in a way, like I said, they do always have talent, but tradable players. Like, they don't have, the 6th overall pick sitting on their roster and stuff like that, teams that are rebuilding are looking for, right? Like, they usually have, veteran, quality players, which are obviously valuable around the league, but depending on, what you're trying to do and they're trying to win a championship, it can be hard to upgrade from the player that they have when you can't, like, attach a pick to it. So, I say all that to say, Kawhi, back to the original, point, Kawhi, like I said, it goes kind of as Kawhi goes. Because again, although they do have a bunch of talent on the roster, you got James Harden, Zubac has, by the way, have you guys been watching Zubac? Like, he gets better and better every single year. And last year, he was so good, so underratedly good. Like, I feel like people didn't even realize how good he was. Like, the way that Jokic, well, he's like a triple-double machine every night, but like a double-double machine at the minimum, he'll always get at least, or majority of the time, he'll get at least 10 rebounds, 10 points, and like I said, probably 10 assists too. But the way that, we see Jokic as like an automatic, that was the same thing with Zubac last year. It was like 20 and 10 every night. And he didn't average like 20 and 10, but like if you watched Zubac, you knew that he was doing stuff like that every single night. Like, shout out to him. But I say all that to say, again, even though Zubac very talented, James Harden is very talented, John Collins is talented. I'm a fan of Norman Powell. If you watch his page, you know that. So I was a little, disappointed that they traded him, but like he was kind of, one of the only players they really could trade, who had value because he is a very good player. Because obviously they're not trading Kawhi or Zubac, or James Harden. And James Harden was a free agent, so you know what I'm saying. So, with that being said, Norman Powell being traded is tough, but they got John Collins. They also got Bradley Beal to quote unquote replace Norman Powell on a deal that wouldn't have been possible if Bradley Beal was not bought out. So, and they got Chris Paul back, So, they got plenty of talent up and down the roster. Fair enough. But again, as I am coming back to, if Kawhi is not healthy, it's really all irrelevant. And that's not to discredit the talent of everybody else. Everybody else could probably, potentially get out of the first round. Like, they do have enough talent. I'm not sure even that, because the West is loaded, as we know. So, without Kawhi, it would be hard to even get out of the first round because every team in the West is tough. But they definitely have a possibility. If for some reason Kawhi wasn't there, they have a possibility because they have so much talent to get out of the first round. Fair enough, right? But beyond that, and again, that's not even a guarantee. Beyond that, Kawhi is what they need in order to win a championship. So the question is, will Kawhi be healthy this season and how many games will he play? And the problem is, the same problem I have is the same problem everybody else has, is we just don't know. And you could say that about every player, of course. Like, you never know how many games anybody's going to play because you never know what's going to happen. But with Kawhi, again, it's repetitive, injuries, not necessarily the same injury over and over, but like, because he is constantly rehabbing and injuring and stuff like that, we, as a collective, fans, media personnel, whatever, don't feel confident that Kawhi will play an entire season. And I'm not wishing that. I'm hoping he's healthy. But I can't sit here and confidently say, like, oh yeah, I think Kawhi will play 70 games because I don't feel confident in that. I hope he does. I really hope he's healthy. So if I had to guess, how many games Kawhi is going to play, if I had to take a guess, and let's say he's like healthy, assuming he doesn't have any like setbacks or injuries or stuff like that, I'll go with 50 games. Again, assuming he's healthy the whole season. I'll go with 50 games. Maybe 60, Again, just assuming health. And if that's the case, and he's healthy, he makes it through the season, stuff like that, they could be really dangerous in the playoffs. Now, we say this every year, of course, again, because the injuries are a variable that we can't predict. And so, like, a lot of people don't believe in the Clippers anymore because of Kawhi's health or health issues in general with the team. And that's fair enough. I am at that point as well where, on paper, if they're healthy, they are dangerous to every team. Like, they are that good. But in reality, am I picking them to come out of the West? It's the same thing. I can't pick them because I just don't know if Kawhi will be healthy. Like, again, I understand every season is different and anybody can get hurt anytime, and we wish that everybody is healthy. But, like, you go to someone like Jokic, and of course, anything can happen, but, like, we have seen Jokic consistently be healthy for the most part, and play in the playoffs, every single year since, I guess, 2020 or whatever. That was the bubble year. It might have made the playoffs in 2019. It's not really relevant. The point is, we've seen Jokic consistently be there in the playoffs. Even if he has some kind of nagging injury, like, he's still been there, and they won a championship. And so that's where a lot of us struggle with Kawhi is, like, when he's out there, he literally looks the same as he did in 2019 on the Raptors. Like, he literally looks that good. It's just like, I can't confidently be like, this team is a threat to come out of the West, not because of their roster, but because I don't know that Kawhi is going to be healthy. If Kawhi is healthy, we know all bets are off. Like, there is no reason why they don't have a shot, to come out of the West. Somebody said, I feel more confident he plays 38 games than 72. Yeah, I don't think, even if he was healthy, I don't think he's playing 72 games. I just don't see that. If he's healthy, I feel like he's going to play like 50 or 60 games. Like, I feel like 60, if he's like actually really healthy, I feel like 60 games is a fair number for him, because I feel like that's kind of what he played when he was on the Raptors. So if he's healthy, like, there's no reason for him to play 30 games, if he's healthy. Obviously, if he's nursing injuries and stuff like that, that makes it different. But to your point, but yeah, like, I don't want to say he's only going to play 30 games, but I definitely don't feel confident saying he's going to play 72 games. I just don't feel confident in that. Somebody said, James Harden is still that guy. Yeah, no, I'm not discrediting James Harden. He still is doing his thing. But, like, they need Kawhi in order to win a championship. Like I said, like, this team, without Kawhi, the West is loaded, so I don't necessarily know if I would pick them, assuming they make the playoffs, right? And let's just say Kawhi gets hurt or something. Hopefully he doesn't. But if they make the first round, depending on the matchup, and Kawhi's not with them, they do technically have enough talent to potentially get out of the first round without Kawhi. That is how much talent they have. But, again, I'm not sure if I would pick them to come out of the first round without Kawhi. It just depends. And number two, even if they did, if they don't have Kawhi for the second round, I don't see them going much further. Like, they have a ceiling without Kawhi. The ceiling may be a first round, win, which is definitely, good. You want to win a playoff round at least, but the ceiling is capped. Kawhi gives them a chance to potentially win a championship. Again, I'm not saying I'm picking them to be the favorites. I'm not picking them to, come out of the West necessarily. I haven't made my predictions on who's, coming out. I pretty much, have said in the East, I think it's probably the Knicks, in my opinion. It's either the Knicks or the Cavs. The Orlando Magic are my dark horse team, if you want to say. Like, I'm really high on the Orlando Magic, but, like, they are still, young and inexperienced. So, I don't know if they will, not that they don't have enough talent, but, like, the inexperience, does take over at times in the playoffs. So I don't know if they'll be able to win the East based on that. They may need another season, developing and playoff experience. So in the East, in my opinion, I feel like if everybody's healthy and everything goes right, it's either the Knicks or the Cavs, and I'm going with the Knicks, in my opinion. For right now, things could change. I don't have like again, not like concrete, but just like, based off everything we know. But in the West, it's wide open for everybody. OKC will probably still be the favorites because of who they are, what they've done, but it's really wide open for a ton of teams, including the Clippers if Kawhi is healthy. So it's not that, again, so that's why I'm saying, like, I can't necessarily, even if Kawhi's healthy, I don't know if I'm picking them to come out of the West. I don't know who I'm picking to come out of the West yet. It's really difficult. Last year, if you watch this page, I picked the Warriors to come out of the West. I'm not ruling out the Warriors coming out of the West this year. They are hungry and motivated, believe me. We know Steph wants to win another ring. He wants ring number 5. And Jimmy obviously wants to win his first ring. And Draymond's always motivated. So, I'm not ruling out the Warriors coming out of the West. The Rockets got KD. It's KD. Like, I don't know. We have to see what it looks like. We haven't seen it yet. But then everyone's talking about, Luka and his motivation this season. And LeBron's motivated, of course. Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. I think they're too inexperienced to win the West at this moment. But it's still Victor Wembanyama, Jokic. I think Denver did a good job this offseason. There are too many variables for me to have I have an idea of teams who I think could, win the West, but right now I can't make a specific decision. In the East, like I said, like anybody can come out of the East. I think the Atlanta Hawks are going to be much better than people are giving them credit for. If you watch this page, I picked the Atlanta Hawks to be the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference this season. Could the Atlanta Hawks come out of the East? Absolutely, and it's anybody's game. It's wide open for everybody. But I feel like, again, if everything goes right in the East, it's probably, Knicks or Cavs. That's the 2 teams that probably should, and I use the word should lightly, come out of the East. But yeah, Kawhi, it's really all on Kawhi's health, It's unfortunate that all the pressure is kind of on Kawhi, in a way. Not like unfortunate, that's not really the right word. He is the star or superstar of the team. I don't know if people still consider him a superstar, just because he doesn't play enough. But it really, goes as Kawhi goes, just because of the health thing. It's not, it's not really anything else. It's just the health concerns. Somebody said it's similar to the Lakers. They can lose Austin and still win games, but they can't lose Luka. On Clippers, they can lose Harden, but they can't lose Kawhi. Yeah, I guess you can kind of say in that way. I don't know if I would compare Austin Reeves to Harden, but I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, it's like if the Lakers lost Austin Reeves, they could probably still win, a round in the playoffs if they got the right matchup and stuff like that. But they can't win the championship if they don't have Austin Reeves. You need full strength. So I understand what you mean. So thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. I hope you enjoyed and see you soon. Bye.